My next guest is the newest member of the UFC strawweight roster. She just came off an impressive win last week on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Of course, I'm talking about Maycee Barber joining me here on the program. Maycee, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and I appreciate you doing this as always, fresh off this win. And I got to know, heading into the fight, you had fought in some pretty high pressure situations with, being with LFA and everything else. But were there any jitters at all going into Contender Series? Because I know it's a different level. It certainly didn't look like it in the fight.
Not much. I mean, it goes up and down. I kind of talked about it after the fight, but I always go through like the roller coaster of emotions, where like they'll come, but they're not like super intense, and then they'll go away. And I really don't have a lot of like nerves before the fight necessarily, or at least I've found out how to contain them pretty well.
Right. Okay. Well, the performance was great. It seemed to me like the game plan was to, keep the fight standing, just pick her apart with your kicks and your stand-up. Is that accurate? Do you feel like you stuck to the game plan in the fight?
Yeah, I mean, we have I wouldn't necessarily we have a specific game plan, but we always have things that we work on. But the main game plan is to be yourself. When you're a well-rounded athlete, you're not specifically afraid of any aspect of the game. So honestly, I was fine whether it stayed standing or whether it went to the ground. I was comfortable in any area of that fight.
And when we talked before the fight, I know you wanted a quick finish, an early finish in the fight, and it was a late finish. I mean, you did get the finish. Was there ever a point you were worried you wouldn't be able to finish her? Because Jamie's a very tough competitor.
I don't get worried necessarily. I'm gonna fight to finish, but I mean, if it doesn't finish, I mean, props to her. I mean, she's tough. But yeah, I'm always gonna fight to finish, and as long as I fight to finish, I'm never going to be worried about, oh, I didn't finish her. Did I do enough? Because if I'm doing everything I can and I fall short, then I fall short, But as long as I did everything that I possibly can, then I have no regrets.
So you finished the fight. At that moment, going through your head, I know it's very emotional. Do you feel like you have the contract at this point, or were you worried at all just with some of the other finishes that were on the card?
No, I was pretty confident, I guess I try not to doubt anything, with myself. Yeah, I was definitely pretty confident.
And I mentioned you being emotional after the fight, which is, it's great. We like to see that, human side of everyone. Was that just the reality of everything you saying coming true? Because, you and I mean, it wasn't that long ago, maybe a year ago, not even, you and I doing an interview and you're like, I'm going to be in the UFC, and it's all come together.
Yeah, it was definitely a surreal moment, and it kind of is still setting in, but I did what I needed to do, and I reached a really big goal in my life. And of course, I mean, I was definitely emotional, just to be able to have everyone in my family there, but yeah, I always have a lot of emotions. I'm a super emotional person, but I'm also really good at keeping it inside. Only for so long, though.
Right. Yeah. A big moment like that, it's pretty tough to contain yourself. Did you talk to the UFC after the fight? I mean, Dana was very impressed with you by what he was saying sort of post-fight. Was there any other dialogue other than that?
No, I didn't actually get to talk to any of them. We talked a little bit. My dad's on a text to Mick. But we'll see. We'll see. I haven't talked to them yet other than getting the contract and signing it and sending it back in, and then we'll go from there.
What's been the feedback on social media? For those in the know, we've seen you fight in LFA and, seen you get these impressive wins, but I'm sure it was just, heightened times 10 after that win because everyone was talking about you after the fight and rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, social media is what it is. I try not to read too much into it because right after that fight, I'm going to have a lot of people that become fans. I'm going to have a lot of people that become like haters. And there's some pretty funny stuff, I've seen a lot of comments about my crazy eye. I definitely have a crazy eye during the fight. It makes me laugh, though, because it's not something I like purposely do. But I like the way Pat Miletich is like, hey, she's just paying attention, But then there's a lot of people who are like, she's got the crazy eye. And I do, it's all right.
Yeah. Well, wins you fights. I mean, that's all that matters, right?
That a lot of people could take, as a negative thing. They're like, oh man, people make fun of my eyes, but I just laughed.
Was there any negative feedback? I wouldn't think so, because again, you put on a really good performance.
Not that I know of. There's a couple of people, I'm sure that are thinking that it's hype. of it. I don't know. They can think what they want to think. But yeah, nothing other than I watched the fight back and I saw that Michael Bisping was like saying stuff about wanting to be a hater at first, but then turning and was kind of impressed. So that was cool to hear. But other than that, yeah, I haven't seen or heard too much.
And I remember after your last fight, Robbie Lawler gave you some props. Was there any other fighters this time that you didn't expect to maybe reach out and give you some props for the win?
I think well, Robbie again wished me good luck on before the fight, and then also said congratulations. And then he was talking to my coach, Coach Pena, yesterday or the day before, so I get to hear what he said about that fight. But I haven't talked to my coach yet, so I'm looking forward to hearing what he said.
That's very cool, nonetheless. Normally, this is where I ask what's next, for a fighter, but I don't think you need a crystal. I was going to say, this you don't really need a crystal ball to figure out this one. That UFC card in Denver on November 10th, that's got to be the card you want to be on to make your debut.
Oh, absolutely. That's definitely the one that I want. And it's perfect timing. It gives me, I think it's like, I looked it up. It's like 15 weeks and 5 days or something like that. I may have already started a countdown, but I can't, I haven't had any confirmation about anything. So I haven't even heard anything yet. But I definitely want to be on that card.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They already added Donald Cerrone. Like, they're trying to go with the Denver fighters.
That's the other one. I was like, I want to fight on the same card as him. That's always been a goal of mine. I put that down on one of my list of accomplishments that I want to have done, and being able to fight on the same card as such an like well-known fighter, that would be awesome.
What about an opponent? Is there anyone you're looking at in the strawweight division saying, I'd love to fight her?
No, not yet. I mean, we've looked at a couple of people, and we haven't made any decisions yet because it's not a super huge division, but at the same time, again, I said this in my other interviews, I'm 20. I don't know exactly what I need to do. So I think talking to people who are a little more wise would be the best choice for me.
Fair enough. I'm going to throw a name out there, and I'm not saying next, but I think down the line that might be a fight that would line up. Mackenzie Dern, you guys almost fought in LFA. There was talks of potentially fighting for a title. That didn't end up happening. She's now in the UFC. She's 2-0. Do you feel like you guys will cross paths at some point in the UFC?
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind fighting her. But yeah, like I said, we'll see. But I don't mind fighting any of them, yeah.
Okay. How'd you celebrate after the win on Contender Series? I know you like to go out with your family, get some nice food. Is that what happened pretty much after the win?
Yeah, we just kind of hung out. To be honest, I was pretty stiff. That was like the most beat up I've been from a fight. And I wasn't even like beat up. I was just, I don't know. I was really sore the next day. So we didn't do a whole ton. We just traveled back home the next day and yeah, just kind of hanging out.
That's good. What about this week? Because I know you never take any time off. You're always right back in the gym. Did you get any time off this week, or was it just back to business?
No, yeah, I took the entire week off.
Good. Okay.
Just kind of healing up. But I'm back to training tomorrow, so it'll be good.
Any painting in this week, or are you skipping that?
No, not for a long time. I haven't done any painting in a long time. So I hope to do some more hiking, some more stuff like that.
People see your Instagram handle, the future world champ. That's always the goal, is to, be a UFC champion. The UFC opens up a lot of doors. We just saw Ronda Rousey get inducted in the Hall of Fame. She's now in the WWE. Is pro wrestling, down the line, something you'd ever consider or would think of, doing potentially when your career is over? I know your career is just getting started, but is that something that's ever crossed your mind at all?
Honestly, I haven't thought too much about it, but I definitely want to be a household name, and then, seeing as far as I can get in my career, and then just being able to set myself up for life, that kind of stuff. But yeah, any opportunity that I'm given, I'm definitely going to weigh the pros and cons and make some decisions and see what the best option is for me.
Did you watch pro wrestling growing up? I know you have brothers, so I imagine it might have gotten on your radar at some point.
I may or may not, when I was younger, make fun of it.
Oh, really? Okay, because it was fake, I guess, right?
I know, just be like, that's so fake. But then again, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of it, though. I didn't even watch a ton of fighting until I was super involved in the whole I want to fight. You know, I didn't watch it before until I turned like 13 or 14.
Okay, that makes sense. Last question for you. You mentioned getting back to training. Is there any other plans you got this week that are outside of fighting? Doing any celebrations, anything like that?
Not that I know of. You
Okay.
know, my dad was like, "Hey, you want to have a barbecue or have a celebration?" And then he's like, "Oh wait, we probably should have surprised you with something like that." So I
Oh
don't know.
man, he totally ruined it. He should have just planned something and
He
then done
like
it for you.
kind of surprised me, but then he like ruined it. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. But I know that when I go to my gym, you know, I have a lot of people there that are gonna be like wanting to celebrate or do something. So we'll see.
Well, Maycee, congratulations on the win again. It's so cool to see you in the UFC. You know, like I said, we talked about this last year, and it's finally come to reality. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have anyone you want to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So I guess you can find me on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Maycee Barber, or at the Future World Champ. And then as far as sponsors go, Method Flow, My Vision Nutrition, all those sponsors. And we're actually launching a website for myself. So that'll be up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then all of my sponsors, I'm going to have links to their websites and ways to get a hold of them as well. So it should be way easier for me to give shout outs to my sponsors. So yeah.